Okay, so I'm going to be showing off quizzes, which is one of the topics or one of the things that I was looking at this semester for this class. I've used it in class a few times. The students seem to really enjoy it. On the teacher's end, we're going to be looking at how you set it up and just how you can get it going so the students can use it. And then a little bit later in the video, we will look at what the student actually sees. So what I already did was, this was one of the featured quizzes of the day. This one was on area and perimeter, which works for me because I'm a math teacher. And I actually was covering area and perimeter not that long ago with my 7th graders. So yeah, so once you're on this page, this was actually created by another user. It says it right under the picture there. It says created 3 months ago by, the person's name was Hala, I guess. This is what you'll see when you access it. So you can scroll down and it will show all the questions. If you notice, this person put little images on all of their questions, which is nice, especially for something like area and perimeter where diagrams definitely help. So it looks like it is 13 questions. Each question is multiple choice. And now they also set time limits for each questions, which you are able to change. To make it your own quiz so you can use it, the first thing you have to do once you're logged in is hit duplicate, which is right under the title. So once I hit that, it'll say duplicating your quiz. Takes a second. Now, if it says that it's created by me, by Grice, that's my username. So now I can make changes to this and I can make it my own. So if I want to edit it, I can just click on edit. It'll take me in here, give me a lot of options what I can do. I can change answers if I wanted to. They only had 3 options for some of the questions. I can make a 4th. I'm not going to do any of that. I can also change the time limit. So on each question, there's a little timer here. Like, for example, the original creator had 10 seconds set for this. Maybe I think that's not enough. Maybe, if I have a class that's struggling and they're definitely going to need more time, I can bump that up to a minute. And I could do that for every question. I can change the image if I don't like it, or if maybe I don't want a picture at all. That's all fine. But there's plenty of options that you can go here. One thing I do recommend doing if you're going to use this in your own classroom is double check all the questions. This hasn't happened to me, but some of my colleagues said that they've actually encountered ones where they had the wrong answer as the right answer, so I would just double check that. But once you're done editing, you just click finish. You can set the grade range that you think it's appropriate for, what subject it is, what topic. Just that way people can find it, other users. Once that's all set, you do finish and create quiz, and there we go. So now it's ready to go. So you have 2 options with this. You can either play live, which, excuse me, if you do play live, what's going to happen is all the students have to be accessed in it at the same time. They all have to be in it at the same time because you're going to start it, and if anyone's kind of left behind in the class, they won't be able to access it once it starts. I don't like that method. I've never actually used it. It just seems like a headache because if someone's Wi-Fi drops out or something like that, it just doesn't work. I prefer using the homework method because that's a little bit more lenient. So if you click on homework, it gives you a due date. So you can set the due date. Today is May 13th, so it's automatically setting the due date to 24 hours from now. So that works for me. And you can also use this homework, and it doesn't need to necessarily be a homework. You can do this still in the classroom. So you set the due date, that's fine. There's a bunch of options down here, so you can jumble the questions, so not every student has the same question at the same time. Same idea with the answers. They won't be in the same order. If they want to show the answers and a little bit of review after the question, they can show the leaderboard. I like to turn that off. Sometimes the competition's nice, but if you have 1 or 2 students that are really struggling, you don't necessarily want all the other students to see that. That's up to you though. Question timer, that's if they get more points for faster answers. Again, I don't really like that because I don't like to encourage my students to rush. I'd rather them take their time to make sure they get the right answer. I also have this show memes thing where it will show a picture, like a funny picture, if they get it right. I also turn that off because sometimes they actually show mean ones if they get it wrong. Which that's not very encouraging for the students, so I also turn that off. And play music, that one can go either way. I'm just going to turn it off for now, but that's not a big deal. And yeah, and then once it's all set, you can hit proceed, and it will take you to this page. So it says my assignment is live, meaning it's ready to go. I have a game code and also the link where students will go to access it themselves, and a little bit of directions on the bottom. What I usually do is I take this information and put it on another worksheet that I give to all the students. That way they have it in front of them. They have the game code. They don't have to ask me 100 times what the game code is. So it's right in front of them. So in our next little segment of this video, we're going to look at the student's end and how they can actually access the quizzes. Okay, so now we are going to look at the student side and what they are going to see and how they can actually access the game. So when they go to quizzes.com/join, they're going to see this page where it prompts them for the game code. The game code is just what we were given on the teacher page here, the 970548. Like I said, I would just print this out so they have it. So when we go to quizzes.com, we'll just enter that in. What was it again? 970548. So 970548. They would click proceed. Now, I actually entered this twice already just so we could see what it would look like with a few students in it. So I just have to choose a different name. Let's go with Christopher. Now, what I usually do here is I make it a rule that they have to use their actual name, whether it be first name, last name. I do that because I don't want them to use anything inappropriate just because they do see each other's names. I say that if they don't use their right name or an appropriate name or something like that, then they'll get a zero on the assignment. But once their name is entered, they would just click join game. It'll give them an avatar. It's just randomly assigned. They're always these weird little like monster creatures. The first time you do this with your class, they're gonna be like, what the heck is going on with those avatars? But it's fine. So if you look on the bottom here, this is where the list of players are. So like I said, I entered it in twice just to show that, and now Christopher is who we're playing as. So it gives tells them right here what time the game will be over at, and once they're ready, they can just click start. And since we're doing it as a homework, they can work at their own pace. They can all start at their own time. They don't necessarily all need to start at the same time like they do when you play it live, which is part of the reason why I like doing it as a homework better, even if we're not necessarily having the students do it as a homework. But once they're ready, they click start. There's a little countdown, and they start to see the questions. So the first question will pop up. Carolina planted seeds in a box that measures 7/8 meters long and 3/5 meters wide. What is the area of the garden box? So they could just work at their own pace. Since I did it where the questions are jumbled, they will all have a different first question. I mean, some might have the same, but not everyone's going to have the exact same question. Also, the answer choices are jumbled as well. So they would do the work on their own, and then they would select an answer. That was the right answer, so I got 1,000 points. It says that was the correct answer. Even if you get it wrong, it shows the correct answer. Now, just to show you what it looks like when you get it wrong, so it says the distance around an object is called the volume. That's obviously not the right answer, but I'll click on that just to show what happens when you get it wrong. So it does tell you the correct answer. Now, just to show you what it looks like at the end, I'm just going to click random answers to speed through this, just so we can move along and see what it looks like at the end. Actually, you know what? I will crop the video here. That way we can just see what's at the end. Okay, so we're on the last two questions now. Like I said, I just wanted to cut it till the end so we can see what it looks like at the end. In me randomly clicking through these answers, I've gotten most of them wrong, which is what will happen to a student if they just randomly click the answers. So again, let's just click on one. Yay, I got that one right. So now let's see what comes up once they finish the quiz. So it says all done. They get this screen. It shows you your avatar, how many points you got. It also says the percent accuracy. So that's the percentage they got right. And that's their grade, which makes it honestly fairly easy to grade. There's no grading involved. You can just look at their scores. They can review things. They can see what they got right, what they got wrong. And yeah, so this is what the student will see at the end. Now, if I go back to the teacher page where I go to mine, if I go to my reports, This is all the quizzes that I have running. So if I click on that, I can see each question. I can see the total percent accuracy, which is not very good because I was just randomly clicking through answers. Hopefully you don't see 8% accuracy with students that you do this with. And it breaks it down with each question. So with each question, it says in green the number of times it was that students got it correct, number of times students got it wrong, and the total amount of students that didn't even attempt it. And you can do that for each question. So this shows a lot. This is a great way to assess what students may or may not be understanding as a whole. So you can print this out, you can download this as an Excel file, and it really is useful. And then if you go into players, you can see each student as an individual, and this is how you can get their grades. So it shows it as a fraction. 3 out of 13 was the one that we just did. But yeah, I think quizzes is a great tool. It's fun for the students, and yeah, I think it's a great tool. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully this helps you out. This is really what I was focusing on this semester, was using quizzes, using these online quiz applications that are just a fun way to do, a fun and different way to assess your students in the classroom. And they're perfect for every subject area. It's not just math, social studies, English, science, foreign languages. Any subject can use this. So I highly recommend it. Thank you.